and we're on YouTube, social media, YouTube live stream. We welcome those on YouTube for joining us. We welcome you. We also welcome those on our conference line. And let's see if we can welcome some on social media's Facebook. Yes, we welcome those who have not joined us on social media's Facebook. And that means we're covering the planet again. We should be covering the entire planet. That's social media's Facebook live stream, YouTube live stream, and our conference line on conference calls. With that said, we're not going to take a lot of your time today. And I realize we always say that. Although we control time, it's not your time anyway. But I've come to this planet again today with another revelation of a seal that was sealed from the beginning. And for the record, today's date of our calendar is the ninth day of the 10th month of our solar calendar, and solar year 6025. The solar year is governed by the sun, celestial, and this year is 6025, solar time. There's 6025 years since the first year that came, the son of Hallel, also known as Lucifer and the devil, was given his chance to show himself well and moral, to show himself moral if he can control the planet, if he can control the planet morality. He was given 6,000 years to do so, a chance. And needless to say, he failed. He deceived the whole world. And so did Hillel, deceived the whole world. And before I explain that in detail, with that calendar, the solar calendar, again, it's the ninth day of the 10th month of our calendar. At sundown would be the 10th day of the 10th month. And this coming sundown Saturday will be the beginning of the 15th day of the 10th month. And for the record, the one who they call Christ, Christo, in the Bible, the one who Greece, Rome, Spain called Zeus, the son of Zeus, the Greek god, Zeus, the son of Zeus, who the English's people have taken the same name and used it as Jesus, and in Hebrew, Yahshua. This, for the record, he was not born on December 25th. Neither was he born on the 15th day of the 10th month of our solar calendar. Keeping in mind that our solar year does not begin January 1st. Our year begins the second week of March, spring, sometime around March 10th or sundown, March 11th, depending on if it's a leap year or not. That's when our years began. And I'm just making a reiteration according to a testimony that we presented the other day when we revealed the true birth date of when the Christ came out of the womb, the 15th day of the seventh month. And that puts it in September. That means since our new year begins in March, around sundown, March 10th to the 11th, you see that's where you start that count to get to the seventh month. It being that the first 2 weeks of March will be the first month. And when you count 30 days each month, then you would get to September the 11th, which would be the seventh month, and 15 days After that would be the 26th. It would be at sundown, and that would be the date 27 sundown, 26, 27 after midnight, September 27th. It's when the Christ came out of a womb. The Jews of Esau, the Edomites, they recognize it as, some say it's Yom Kippur, and some say the it's another Jewish holiday that they recognize besides Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah or something like that. The Sukkot. And then the Christians recognize it. They know. They call it. They go 2 days more, and they use September 29th, and they call that day Saint Michaelmas Day, not Christmas, Michaelmas Day. Why? Because they know they can connect the Christ to Michael. Michael is the same as the Christ. They call Michael the Archangel. He's the same as the Christ. They also call Jesus. So the name Michael, Mikael, and Michael in English, Mikael in Hebrew with the L-E-L, Elohim, Mika Yahweh in English translation for Mem Yod Kaf Yod Wavhe, or Mika the Morosite, is the same. Mika Morosite, Michael, Mikael, Jesus, Yahshua, the Christ, the same one. Shalom, the same one. Shalom means peace, that's a man, according to Micah chapter 5, verse 5. It's the same being. Now, with that said, again, today, according to the Gregorian calendar this world is being governed by, today we recognize today as December 19th, 2022. We do not recognize today as December 20th, just as we did not recognize Saturday as December 10th. Why? Because it being that it was revealed that since we cannot get from 1 to 0, that the English's idiom and numerical system starts from the left to the right, it is impossible to get from 1 to 0. 0 is infinity. You have to come from infinity. You can't go to infinity. You must come from everlasting. And all the holy angels that are with me here in Miami, we all come from everlasting. It's others that are trying to get to everlasting. That's why the world has been deceived. And they give you can live forever. You cannot live forever to come from 1 and try to get to 0. You have to come from 0 to go back to 0. So since 1 cannot get to 0, how can 2 get to 0? That's incredible. 2, 0. You look at it as 20. We look at it as 2 people trying to get to 0, or 2 nations trying to get to 0. We do not recognize it. So today, according to us in the U.S., is December 19th, and tomorrow would be December 21st. That settles. That's just for the record of this video is being recorded. And if you're going to join us, please take out your Bible, King James Version. Take out your Bible, King James Version, your Strong Concordance, a dictionary or 2, and I'm going to ask you to write. So I mean, you need a writing utensil, and you need something to write on, some paper. So grab something to write with, and grab a writing utensil. And we're going to reveal a few things that the world does not know. The first thing we're going to do is remind you that the whole world has been deceived. I'm going to make an extreme emphasis on that. This entire world has been deceived. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. You can take off this background. You see Mika. That's a painting and artifacts that they made of the prophet Mika. But at least they give you an idea that Mika had brown skin complexion. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
And he also had a beard, white beard, long beard, and long hair. They have on the painting that he had white, long hair on his head. But Micah is also known as, if you remember, I said Yahshua,
Mm-hmm.
Yahshua the son of Nun. And when you go to Exodus chapter 33 and verse 11, that's the first scripture that identifies Yahshua the son of Nun as a young man. That means Micah hair, or his head will be black for a long time as Micah continues to look like a young man, going backwards at time instead of forwards. He's going back to everlasting. Micah's going back to infinity. He come from everlasting, now he's going back to everlasting. You can't put an age on this body, on this vessel. It's impossible. You don't know how old Micah is or how young. So since you see that, X out of that particular link and go to just go to the top and X that out, and then go to another one, open up another one, and go to your Bible and go to Revelation chapter 12. This whole world has been deceived. Deceived. And you're going to get a dictionary. See if that's a big dictionary you got to get. I want you to read that dictionary. You're going to get that dictionary. But you're going to read Revelation chapter 12, verse 9 first.
Mm-hmm.
We want our big dictionary because that dictionary it's got true descriptions in it and definitions.
Mm-hmm.
Is it right there? Okay. Read that. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, quote, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which
Go ahead.
deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." End quote.
So Lucifer, the devil, or do we know who the devil is? The great dragon. Hold on. Read that verse again. Let's break it down. It's Revelation. Just leave that there.
Mm-hmm. Verse 9. "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan."
Stop there. And many people know this already, but we're just going to reiterate and remind those that Satan, Satan, is as they move. See, N is at the end of this word, Satan. Now, when you read it from left to right, you see the N, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you look at your geographical map and you go from north, south, east, and west, you see to the right is east. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So this N lets you know that the so-called Negroes came from the east.
Mm-hmm.
And that means they came from the east of here, but on the west shores of Africa, where they were taken captive and put on ships during the 16th century. That's the first capture. And you see the S is on the left.
Mm-hmm.
That means since the end of this word Satan is at the end, that represents Negroes. And then according to the rednecks in the hills and hillbillies, they call them niggers. They were put on ships and brought to the west. Right? They came westward, but they landed on the eastern shores of this land in Jamestown, Virginia, Plymouth Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they came over, they also brought the Ark of the Covenant with them. And the Ark of the Covenant, the tabernacle, is the sun. So that will explain a scripture that says, "So as the sun rises to the east and to the west." So the sun will come over and become with them from the east to the west, and he would be S, the sun, also the Savior. he was sprang out of Judah, according to Hebrews chapter 7 and verse 14. You can make a note of that. That's so since the Negroes came from the east and they settled here in the west, then what this government did was put them right in the middle of this country. That means this N was placed next to the A after the S. So now you have SAN. And they put all of those on a cross. They crossed up their minds. They put all Negroes and all the whole world on the cross. The minds are all crossed up. So now you have SANT. And then we had to be rescued. And you're going to hear that in a minute. We had to be rescued by God, our Father. And he became A. And they know that. But so does Lucifer. And that's why Lucifer called himself an angel, the archangel.
Mm.
And therefore he became Santa. SANTA.
Mm.
As well as SATAN. Satan. Santa, Satan. The same one. And they destroyed our people and murdered them by the millions. 98 million, 96 million of our people were murdered during the slave trade. That's a lot of blood. And that included whipping them with black belts and stomping on them with their black boots.
Mm.
And their clothing became full of blood, red. And that may be a mystery on why this man wears red.
Wow.
A red garment with a black belt and black boots and a white beard.
Mm.
Satan. And he has his own clause. His clause is a murderer. That's his clause. Deception. So for the first time in your life, you've been heard the revelation of, in Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, your King James Version Bible, the clause of Satan. Verse 9, that's a clause. Deceive the whole world. That's the clause.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Satan clause. You think of Santa Claus, and the first thing he deceived the world and the believers that he's going to bring you a gift. He deceived the whole world, making you believe he's going to bring you a gift down a chimney that's already lit for the snow that's coming this coming weekend. The cold. That's going to be most of what some people are going to have. This is going to be the only thing they have to keep warm. A chimney. The power is going to go out. Power grids are going to go out. Power lines are going to snap. Power light poles are going to come down. I'm not prophesying. I'm saying it so it can happen. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Some people are going to be frozen by their chain link fences. Some people are going to put their hands on metal and it's going to freeze them. It's going to freeze them. Gas lines on automobiles and vehicles are going to freeze. They won't be able to start. You ever heard of gas freezing?
Okay.
Fire. Fire is going to freeze.
Yeah.
Fire is going to ask to stay warm. There's a cold coming this weekend. This is just the first. It's not the only one. This is only the beginning of sorrow. The beginning of sorrow. This weekend is going to make a record look like it never occurred of breaking.
Mm.
And then weekends to follow that is coming. Next month is going to be the worst that they call January. We're going to call it the 11th month. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 9 is revealing to you Satan's clause. Deceive the whole world. He have the whole world upside down. And if you click on it, you'll see it. I wrote a book in 2012. Go up to the top and you'll see it's already there. I wrote that book in 2012. It's The Oppositionist. It's titled The Oppositionist. I wrote that and it's available on Amazon. The Oppositionist. If you stroll down now, you'll see it's made by. I signed it, Mika Yahweh Ben Yahweh. You see it?
Yeah.
Now stroll back down to the geographical map. If you look very closely, you'll see I put the map upside down. Up there to the top is the continent of Africa.
Mhm.
Now I had to put that on so you know before we go any further, you look at the name tag on my head and you think it's upside down. Well, I did that so it would be in coincide with the book. So if you think I have my hat on the name upside down, I do not. It's Satan who have your mind upside down.
Mhm.
So now you have to look at my name and find out what it is, right side up. But I can only do that after I give you the revelation of heaven.
Mhm.
What you think is heaven is not. And I put my name on upside down so I can bring you right side up after I revealed heaven to you today. And you see the book.
Mhm.
Some people have this book. Now, if you want to get this book, stroll up and go back for a moment, and it's going to take you. If you just go back to the screen, it's going to take you to the Amazon page there, and that shows you how you can get this book. And I'm the first to tell you, if they didn't already, that Amazon is a bunch of thieves. I did not give them permission to put my book along with their inventory to make money off of my book.
Mm.
I'm not getting any royalties for this book. I haven't gotten one dime from Amazon for my book. And I have a copyright on this book. I'm making a public announcement on YouTube, Facebook, and on our conference line today. I did not give the prototypes, the CEOs, administrators, the owners of Amazon, and the owner of Amazon permission to sell my book on his network in his inventory. It's copyright 2012. If you want, I think it's a space that says inside. Click on that, look inside. As you look inside, I think you stroll down. There's my signature again. Mem. Stroll down some more. The Oppositionist. It tells you right there, that's my copyright. Stroll down some more. And there I am in an image
Mhm.
of the sun and the clouds. It was promised that you'll see him coming in the clouds, but there it is. There I am coming in the clouds. Stroll down some more. And that's I have italicized a different font
Mhm.
that the world will know it's me. See, that can only be done by Mika. Stroll down some more. And that gives you introduction, etc., etc., etc. It's my book, available on Amazon. It's Tyler the Oppositionist. I encourage you to read that book. I know we can't go too far, but toward the end of that book, I reveal the true. There, I like that one. That's the world upside down, the
Mhm.
planet, actually the globe. I also reveal Christmas in that book. I reveal all holidays in that book of the Gregorian calendar of the heathens.
Mhm.
Anything else? You see tennis shoes upside down?
Yeah.
Yeah, man upside down. See, my name tag is not upside down. The world is.
Mhm.
And I put it like this on my forehead so it'll be a mystery. You must know my name. My father's going to reveal that in a moment on his name, what you thought was his name. It's not his name. But remember, in the interview, he's talking to the devils.
Right.
And he's incognito. So now, with that said, you got it? Okay. That's the index.
Mhm.
And how far will they let you go? Will let you go to the introductions and about the author. Yeah, that's my book. I wrote that, and it was approved by the Grand Master of the Celestial Lodge. Mm-hmm. And that's only one of my books. I wrote several books. I'm writing books from the beginning. Most of the books in your Bible I wrote, but you don't know that. I originally wrote they come in scroll. They came in scrolls. Hebraic
There we go. Introduction.
introduction. So if you don't want to buy the book, at least go to Amazon and read those few pages that they allow you to read inside, so you get an idea of what this world is really like today, as it is. Now, with that said, upside down. What I would like for you to do now is go there, and you're going to find Facebook. I want them to hear once again. Don't go there yet. Go to YouTube. I want them to hear at least 10 minutes. I think I have it at the 20, each 7 minutes. I have it at 24 or 23-minute mark on YouTube. The interview of Yahweh ben Yahweh of 1986 that was recorded in his office at the Temple of Love at our international headquarters at the time. Here in Miami of Florida is where we're broadcasting from. We're broadcasting from Miami of Florida. This is going to be the only city, other than one or two out west, this coming weekend is going to be above 40 degrees. It's going to be above the 40s this weekend, only in Miami and a couple other places out west. Texas is going to be a popsicle. Texas, Louisiana, all those places. Right here in Florida, up Pensacola and Tallahassee, it's going to be in the 20s. You can look for snow. Do you see it? I already had it there, but go back to, there it is. Play that for a moment and up loud. Wait, before you do, leave it on pause for a moment. We looked up the word deceived. Did we? No, we did not.
No.
In Revelation chapter 12 and verse 9, see deceived upside down. We're not going to look in the concordance. We're going to look in this dictionary. I have a dictionary here that was first published in 1890. Is that correct?
1890.
During the 19th century. This, you can see the condition of it. And that means, now I'm going to read this dictionary was given to us by the grace of our Allah through the hands of what you call Jew on Miami Beach.
Mm-hmm.
One of our angels here has her own business, and that business consists of cleaning office buildings, homes at your service. Whatever someone wants cleaned, then that angel would answer the call. And they would go and respond and clean up the house or whatever it is that needs to be cleaned. And of course, our angels here in Miami, even in other cities, are wearing the tetragrammaton around our necks on a chain in gold plated, 18 karat gold. Yod Het Wav He from right to left. Yod Het Wav He from right to left. Yod Het Wav He. And when that particular Jew, an old Jew, saw the Yod Het Wav He around her neck, and she went to a little testimony to let them know that who we are is Judah, and that we are the true Yehudites. The word Judah comes from Jew. And then you look at the dictionary, tell you Jews are the ancient people of Judah.
Mm-hmm.
And when she saw that and realized that this woman is not just a maid cleaning up the slave master's house, that she's a Hebrew Israelite and wide awake. So she know the blessings. If she blessed that particular Hebrew Israelite angel, the Hebrew angel, then she would be blessed. So what good of a gift could it be? What better gift could there be than to give someone knowledge? As wisdom increased and knowledge increased. That was promised in Daniel chapter 12, verse 3. So what better gift can you give someone who's awakened to the knowledge of themselves and their own God and his son than knowledge? And what she was telling her was there are a lot of words today in English that don't mean what it means that you think it means. But here is a dictionary. It is a Webster's New International Dictionary. This is big. This is a heavy. See now, see how thick? This is my hand. Tells you how thick it is. Want to get an idea how thick? Here's a cell phone. Like it's almost the same size as a cell phone. It's how thick. And I'm going to read the copyright. And it's very fragile. Right now, this feels like an egg that's cracked. And we're trying to get it to the frying pan to save all the yolk and the white of the egg. Every page is delicate. I want them to see this. Every page, but I'm going to read. They even have a picture. I can't show because I'm trying to keep it together here, but if you can get an idea. Webster's New International Dictionary of the English Language. And it says by Springfield, Massachusetts, United States, published by G&C Merriam Company, 1926. And the first copyright, this copyright is 1909. And then there's one 1913. And there was another one. Oh, this says here on the first sheet after the picture of Webster, under Webster's New International Dictionary of the English Language, it says, and I'm quoting, based on the International Dictionary of 1890 and 1900, now this period, now completely revised in all departments, including also a dictionary of geography and of biography, geography and biography, geography, biography being the latest authentic quarto edition of the Merriam-Webster series, the Merriam series. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this to our voice, our narrator, who reads. I'm going to go to the word deceive. That's when in Revelation 12:9? Deceived.
Yeah.
This dictionary is nothing less than incredible. If I use any word less than that, it wouldn't be given a credit. Even incredible is an understatement. So let's look up deceive. Let's go to D. I'm already up to page 467. I'm still in C. And 529, I'm still in the C section. 559, C section. Sound familiar? C section. That's what it is. A lot of our women who were impregnated and they beat them till they could not give birth to the womb. So they had to have a C-section. DE. Now here I am on page 577. I'm on page 577. That's what the word deceive is. I turned that forward for you. So can you grab that and read that? Deceive. And you may have a past tense there too, deceived, because now it's almost too late. The world's already deceived. So read that. 577. Read deceive first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, read that first and then read deceived.
Okay.
Nice and loud.
Nice and loud. Okay.
It's right there.
I see deceive, and then I see deceiver.
I want you to write read the definition of deceive.
Deceive. Okay. Starting at 1, quote, to lead into error.
Wait, deceive means to lead into error.
Mhm.
So this whole world is led into error by Satan, the great dragon, and his angels. You were led into error from the beginning. What else?
To cause to believe what is false.
Satan and his angels cause you to believe something that's true, that you thought was true, but it's false. Did you hear what I said?
Okay.
Satan and his angels taught this whole world to believe something that you thought was true, but in fact, by truth, is false. You were led to believe that. It's false. Christmas, December 25th,
False.
Christ's birth date, false. And what you think is heaven, to go up in the sky when you die, you have to be dead to go to heaven. If you're good, it's false. They also taught you that if you're good, if you're naughty or nice, then you still have a chance to go to heaven if you're naughty or nice. Then Satan's going to bring you something on December 24th. And when you wake up December 25th, you'll have it that you asked for while sitting on his lap. That is false. You were deceived.
Mhm.
It's false. What else?
Or disbelieve what is true.
That means, so you do not believe was true. That's true. And when we tell you it's true, you don't believe it. It becomes a disbelief. That means you've been deceived. You've been deceived into believing what's not true, but you believe, and you also been deceived to believe what's true. You've been deceived to believe what's not true, but you've been also deceived to not believe what is true.
Mhm. Right.
Did you hear what I said?
Mhm. Yeah.
That's Revelation 12:9. Let me repeat that. You have been deceived to believe what is not true, but you've also been deceived to not believe what is true,
Mhm.
like heaven. You think heaven is good. You think that's what God is in heaven. You think that Christ said, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. You think he said and told you that our Father was in heaven. And you believe that. But that's not true.
Mm.
If that was true, that he wouldn't be here on earth either. Now, we tell you that our Father was here on earth, you don't believe that because it's true. But when we tell you our Father's in heaven, you believe that. But that's not true. Because you don't know what heaven is. And nowhere in prophecy it promises you that he's going to be bringing heaven down with him. Show me the city in the Middle East that's called heaven. And I'll show you the city in the Middle East that's called Jerusalem. With a J, even with a J. What else does deceive have?
To oppose upon.
Deceive means to be opposed upon. So Satan and his devils oppose upon your right mind. They impose upon your righteous mind, your morality, your mind of morality, your moral concepts. They impose upon that and gave you immorality and an immoral mind. They give you a mind to hate people. They give you a mind to steal and to murder. That's what kind of mind they gave you. You've been deceived.
Mm.
You've been deceived. The whole world, they see that they have the whole world upside down, in so much until you think my name tag over my head, my name is upside down in Hebraic, a name that you've never seen before, unless you saw my previous videos. This is a name that I brought with me from everlasting. I brought this name with me from everlasting. My name is not Mika. That's a title, that's an appellation that means something. But they led you to believe that the prophet, the minor prophet, who is a younger version of Isaiah or Jeremiah, his name was Mika. They deceived you with that because that wasn't even Mika. It was Mika Yahweh. They cut off the theophoric extension off that. What's that? Yod He Vav He. The appellation. A tetragrammaton. A tetragrammaton, not the. You have more of deceive?
Again, to deal treacherously with.
Your whole mind, all your life, was dealt treacherously with Satan and his devils, even when you went to church. And you still go to church. And some are going to go Sunday. It's December 25th. You may even go midnight, December 24th. You've been deceived. You think God is in church. You deceive that. You've been deceived to think that God is in church, that you believe is true, opposed to God not being in church, that you think is a lie. You don't believe that. You believe God is in church. What else you have?
To mislead.
You've been misled by Satan and his devils, his angels. You have been misled to think that heaven is in the sky, someplace out on another planet somewhere. And if you die accidentally, if you get hit by an automobile, or if you be shot during December 31st accidentally, then it's okay because you were good. Then some angels are going to come and get your vessel and take you up to heaven so you can meet God. That dead body. And some be full of fluoride or maldehyde or whatever that stuff is, chloride, embalming fluid. They drain the blood out. They drain all the blood out of that body and try to preserve for blood banks or whatever. And then they fill it full of chemicals and they put it in a box, what they call a coffin or a casket. Close it up, open it up to view for the last time in church. They call it a funeral. And you believe, you're so strong, you believe that you've been so deceived until you believe that once it's buried and they put dirt over it, put the tombstone over it, or whatever the monument or whatever they put over it, a week later it's going to go up and be with God in heaven. And it's so much until you're tempted to go dig it up a month later and see if it's still in there. You've been deceived. You've been deceived so bad of a dead body until the birthday is September 1st or January 15th. Muhammad died January 15th, 1966. So every year, it's January 15th, 1967, 1977, 1987, you say, happy birthday to my mother who's up in heaven. Happy heavenly birthday, Mom. Happy heavenly birthday. Birthday, Mom. You have to shake your head. You've been deceived. Your mind's been turned upside down. And it's so much until, since your mind's upside down, then how come heaven can't be down below? How come heaven cannot be right here on this planet, the surface planet? How come heaven can't be hell? I asked the question. I say, how come heaven cannot be evil and wicked and the opposite of what you think it is? Because you don't know who he is. Who he, Avon? You have more. I don't think we need any more.
You got a few more.
What other one? Give us a,
series.
huh? I know it's a series.
Cheat, disappoint.
Deceive means cheat. You was cheated. Some of your life was cheated. They cheated on your life. It was only a matter of time. They cheated on your life. That means you're supposed to have more in life now than you ever had, but you have nothing. Why? Because they cheated you. Even when you go to the food store or to a dry goods store, when you go to Walmart, you buy a bottle, a jar of anything. Especially, I'm a witness of liquid detergent, Joy, or Ajax. Months ago, a year ago, Ajax was thick. It was thickly concentrated. You think you're getting $4 worth, right? And yet you're only getting $1 worth. They cheated you. Then you pay $6 for the whole bottle. You've been cheated. You've been deceived. They tell you all kind of things what you buy. They say it's good. And yet you think it's true. It's not. You've been deceived. They even sell you gold. You think it's gold. Until you take it home, put a knife to it, and it turns gray.
Yeah.
They call it gold plated. But they didn't put that in the fine print. All you saw was 14 karat or 18 karat gold. And then they put the word plated real small so you don't see it. Or overlaid. You don't see the word overlaid. And then when you have an appraise, you spend $600 for it, you have an appraise, the jeweler tells you, what do you want me to do with this? What do you mean what I want you to do with this? I want you to give me the value for this. I paid $600 for it. You did? My prayers are with you. In fact, if I was you, I'd call the police.
Yes.
What do you mean? If you paid $600, this is only worth $60. $60 at the most. You need to go back and get your change. You've been deceived. You have been deceived. Your mind was played with. It became an error. It became an opposer of the truth. Your mind became an opposer of the truth. Anything else?
Disappoint.
You should be disappointed. The definition, this is a dictionary that came out in 1909. This dictionary of 1909, Webster's, said that in order to be deceived, you must be disappointed. But you're not. That's the deception itself. You have been so deceived until you're supposed to be disappointed, but you're not, because you think December 25th is really Christmas. That's why you can't wait for it to get here. But then when you find out the truth, then you should be disappointed, but you're not, because you say it's a lie. You've been deceived. Because Jesus was born December 25th. I don't give a damn what he say. Since my pastor said it, it's in books. I see it on Christmas cards. Every November, every October, they bring the trees around. November, they bring the trees so we can buy them from up north. I just love that pine smell. If nothing else, I love the pine smell. So what if the needles fall on my carpet? I have a vacuum. No such thing as an artificial tree. Why? Because it's deceiving. It's deception. It's deceptive. Artificial means it's deceived. They come in the house. Oh, that tree look nice. Well, it's not real. Why? Now you're deceiving people that you have a real Christmas tree. That's deception. They tell you in your face it's not real when they give you say artificial tree. Don't you have common sense enough to know that if they sell you an artificial tree, then Christmas is artificial? Excuse me? I know I'm not making sense. They sell you plastic reindeers, plastic Santa Claus, plastic dogs with reindeers on their, on their heads. They sell you plastic candy cones to put on your tree. And you put it on your tree and you think it's real. Yes, it's real plastic. Is a real tree? Yes, it's a real tree. It's a real plastic artificial tree. If it wasn't, even if it's a photograph, If you saw a picture of an artificial tree, it's real because it's a real photograph.
Right.
It's true. But yeah, you think it's a lie. It's not. What you think is a lie is the truth. And what you think is the truth is a lie. That's what Satan did to your minds. And you think that's all right. You don't have to listen to me. Say, I'm going to go to heaven anyway. Well, feel free. You think free is true. You think 1865 emancipation of freed slaves was true. That was one of the biggest lies that they told. If that's not a lie, go to the airport, right? Go to the airport right now. Buy a flight to go back to Africa. I don't know what country you're going back to because Africa is a continent. Africa has about 58 countries in it.
Right.
So go back to Africa where you come from. You think you come from Africa, Judah. And then get your ticket in the airline, commercial airline. And then when you get to the airport, right, the international section that you're going to travel outside this country, just take your ticket and walk through security. Show them your driver license. Show them your state driver license of these 48 states or 50 if you're from Hawaii or Alaska. Show them your driver license that you're going to go back to Africa. See if it's free. See if you walk out of here free. See if you can go past the port with just your driver license. See if you can passport without your driver license. With your driver license. If you were free, you wouldn't even need a driver license to go.
Right.
All you would need is a ticket. You don't even have to show them who you are. If you were free in 1865, then you would not need a driver license or a passport to go to Africa in 2022. Just show them your ticket and board the plane. You're free to go. You're free to go. If you were free, then you wouldn't be paying a mortgage for a house. You wouldn't have a car note. Why? Because it's free. If you were free, everything else would be free. Don't you know that? That's common sense. Do I have to tell you that too? And yet you're paying a water bill. And water is free. You are paying a water bill and water is free. You are paying a power bill and power is free. You have divine intelligence, superior power of the mind. You have the type of mind that has power in it that you create your own electricity. If they did it, you gave them the knowledge to do it. Why can't you do it? Why can you not do it, Judah? You gave them the knowledge to do it. Who you think built and architected the White House that you think is free? When you visit the White House, that's not free. You think that's free. Go visit the White House and show me how you got there free. No, I mean, unless you walk, and that's going to cost you too. Even if you walk from Detroit to Washington, D.C., show me how that's going to be free. And it's going to take you a while. Show me someone walked from Detroit or Chicago to Washington, D.C., and show me how you got there free if you don't have to stop and get something to eat.
Right.
Or something to drink. Sometimes you got to use the toilet. You think that's free. If you don't say, I don't have to go to the public restroom. Okay, go in the woods and do it and see if a ranger don't come and find you doing it and see if that's going to be free. After you slap a citation on you or even take you to jail for indecent exposure. See if that's free. You think they freed you from slavery, yet you couldn't vote until 1966. You still ain't voting. You still have the right to vote. All you're doing is casting a ballot. See, you're casting a ballot. If you were able to vote, whoever you vote for would be the person who you want to be. But what you're doing is giving an opinion. You think voting is voting for someone who you want to be president or governor or mayor, and yet all you do is giving them your opinion. They have already decided who's going to be what they want to be.
Right. It's true.
It's called the Ninth Amendment. And the 13th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's free. You've been deceived. And so much until you don't even know who I am. They deceived you in believing that Jesus is a white boy with blonde hair and blue eyes. The Christ. Blonde hair and blue eyes. You've been deceived to believe that he was nailed on the cross. And the Bible has nothing in it, and a verse that says that. All you have to do is read it. Read the Bible. It tells you the truth, but you can't accept it because you think it's a lie. Deceived. You think my father was the son. You think my father in English, Arab in Hebrew, was the son of God, and he told you who he is, even back then. Even used the appellation to do it. You think it's a lie. So you calling my father a liar. Play that. Play that from that's about the 23-minute mark. 28 minutes? No, we want to go. I had it already at the 23-minute mark. Go back to about the 23-minute mark. This was recorded back in 1986 in the Temple of Love International Headquarters at our temple. Go back to about 23 minutes. So we can get about at least 7 minutes. We can get about 30 minutes to it. 30 minutes. 7 minutes. Which one is that? Go ahead. Go play that.
Now that is a parable. And a parable is an allegory. And I'm the only one that can explain that parable. And I'll give you the understanding now.
We can feel the lights
The
on.
understanding of that parable, which proves who I am, is that there are 100 nations that are marked, that know that Yahweh is God, that are the people of Yahweh, and they are my people. And one of those nations is lost, which is the so-called black people of America. In the scriptures, it said, my sheep are men. So therefore, there are a group of people on the earth who have woolly hair, like the sheep has, who's docile and in need of a shepherd. And that is the so-called black people of America. And what is it being lost? What are we lost from? Our people are lost from the knowledge of the God, lost from the knowledge of their history, culture, language, name, land, civilization, living a savage, uncivilized life, need of reformation, redemption, salvation, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm restoring their spirituality, I'm restoring their history and their culture and all that makes them a nation, a people, and the tribe of Judah. This I'm accomplishing, which any one of them can demonstrate quite eloquently. And our children, little fellas, also can demonstrate this to you. I think perhaps one of you may have been present. You saw quite an astonishing performance, and it's equally astonishing when they perform their historical platitudes and perspective. So that's the understanding of that scripture. I'm returning the so-called black people to the fold. Now, the other 99 nations are of many colors. So it translates into, well, how do you distinguish people in those nations? Because not all people in those nations are going to accept me or what I teach. It then comes down to an issue of morality versus immorality. So all people, regardless of their color, can be saved. So any white person who believes in me, on me, in my name, Yahweh, can be saved. And the
I wonder did they hear that?
He said it again.
In my name, Yahweh. He did not say Yahweh ben Yahweh,
Did not.
which of course is the appellation. English appellation. What mark is that?
2540.
2540. Yahweh. It's 2540, like the 25th and 40th number value, huh? Number value of mem is 40. 25. He's first said on my name, then said in my name. That's two.
Test.
In John chapter 1, it says, believe on the name, somebody's name.
Mhm.
He said, believe in my name. Why? Because the one who they're supposed to believe in, right, is in him.
Right.
The name is in him.
Mhm.
Now all they have to do is put that one on him, and then they will find him in him. This is his name. See, this name is on my forehead.
Mhm.
It's also in it. But this name on my forehead is in him, in his name. And that's why he told me in 1992 to study my name. And I still didn't find my name when I studied it because I thought at the time I was still. Remember, he placed Adam in a deep sleep.
Mhm.
And the only way Adam could come out of sleep is to study his name
Right.
and to find out what his name is. Then I discovered it wasn't Mika. And after he told me to study my name and to find out the meaning of my name and what my name is, then I would find out how I'm connected to him and how my name is connected to his name, ineffable. And I did. I wrote a book. I titled the book Mika. And he said when he saw it, I could. He was at that time he was incarcerated, 1992. So evidently, I titled the book wrong. I titled it wrong. I titled it Mika because I'm always writing books, and I got it wrong because when I got the book from the Peace Foundation in the mail, the book read, "I bear witness of the Son, Yodewave." He did that. He put that there. So he corrected my error. Why? Because I've been deceived.
Mhm.
I was deceived. I became part of Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. I became an error, and because I made an error. I became opposed. And I should have been thankful and appreciative. No, but I was deceived
Wow.
to think that my name was Mika. And at that time, he took away the deception from my soul and told the world who I am. This is the son of Yodewave. Because why? He's Yahweh. Now we're going to learn, we're going to find it. Here's some more in a minute to prove it. Because he said it.
Mhm.
But go back just a few seconds before that again, and hear him say that again. So they'll see this was recorded again, 1986. This was recorded in Miami of Florida, United States of America. In 1986, in a building that was located at the time, the address is still there. The building is still there today. The building, 2766 Northwest 62nd Street in Miami, Florida, zip code 33147. That is where that was recorded in his office by a bunch of scribes of Time magazine. Time. You got it? Play it again.
So it translates into, well, how do you distinguish people in those nations? Because not all people in those nations are going to accept me or what I teach. It then comes down to an issue of morality versus immorality. So all people, regardless of their color, can be saved. So any white person who believes in me, on me, in my name, Yahweh, can be saved. And who chooses to be moral. It is clearly your choice. All people who want to be moral can be saved. But I had to come to mine first, or I would not have come in the scriptures. If I had come to all people first, then the scripture being sent to the lost sheep would have been a lie, or I would have been a lie. So I have simply fulfilled the word. And because I have come and worked a miracle among these pitifully ignorant people, you're looking at a pitifully ignorant group of people. You know it. Well, I'm speaking of their former selves. That's what I'm speaking of. They're not ignorant now. But in their former state, I confess that I was. No one was more ignorant than me. It was a pitiful case. When did you stop being ignorant? When Yahweh raised me up.
There's a deception.
Yeah.
There is a deception right there in itself. He just told them that he's Yahweh. And then they asked him a question. So when did you decide not to be ignorant? And then he said, "When Yahweh raised me up." Why? Because he's self-raised, self-luminous, self-taught. That means he raised up himself. And those who know him, or thought they knew him, and heard him say that, they know I'm telling the truth. But some don't believe it because they think it's a lie. That means why? Because they've been deceived. I'm telling you the truth, but you think it's a lie. Why? Because you've been deceived. And yet, if I tell you a lie, you believe that. But yet, it's not a lie. It's the truth. He just told them, "I'm Yahweh," and yet they say he's telling them Yahweh raised me up. But they couldn't. That's wisdom. You cannot. I mean, the wisdom of God is not even questionable. You can't even think of matching it. That's omniscient.
Sure.
Omniscient. Omnipotent. That's why he says the blessed and only potentate. Let it play some more. Play on.
I started teaching 7 years ago. If you want a time frame, I started teaching here in Miami all alone. Totally alone. Here in Miami, I was despised. I was rejected. I was hated. I was spat upon. Mom?
Can you persevere? Did you start teaching right here, or in this neighborhood, or in Miami?
And you can read that for yourself. I don't have to open the book and read it for you. In John chapter 1, it states that in the beginning was the Word was with Yahweh, and the Word was Yahweh. Then it goes down to tell you that the Word would become flesh and dwell among men. I am that flesh, and I'm dwelling among you today. Then it goes on to tell you that I would come to my own people from whom I'm born, and that they would receive.
I want you to notice that he mentioned that he said, my father said, in John 1:1, said, the beginning was the word with God. And then later on it said the word would become, and he said it would be made flesh. Right? And then he said he is that flesh. But he did not say he is that word. He cannot be the word because he created the word. He formed the word. And that means since he's flesh, then the word became flesh. But the word is not him. He gave the word. If God was limited to being just the word, then that's all he would be. That means his flesh would be bound to death. But God's not bound. He cannot be destroyed or killed. But the Son could be crucified. The Word, who they thought they killed. But even the Son of God is created from the Father to come back over and over and over again from the beginning of time. In another vessel or the same vessel, whichever he chooses. Came back in the same vessel this time, so the marks would be this way. No, it's me. The marks on the body, the marks on his body are right there as they were, as it ascended over 2,022 years ago. So you have to hear this. You can't just listen. You have to hear what my Father is saying. Let it continue.
Not. Though I'm in the world, though the world is made by me, and I'm in the world, yet the world knows me not. So the world has to come into the knowledge of me. So that for that reason I'm rejected. I was rejected and despised by my own people. That fulfills the scriptures. Totally. I have lived that. Then after I demonstrate my persistence, that I would be rewarded with those who would come into the knowledge and who would be believe and be redeemed. And that's what I'm doing. And of course, then the world will take notice through the work that I do. And I've lived that. I'm living it. All that the word
So you're speaking of both the New Testament and the Old Testament.
Yes, and Revelations.
And but in the New Testament, you reject the emergence of the Messiah.
No, I am the Messiah that is prophesied.
So,
I am the Messiah of the New Testament.
but the books that talk about Jesus, they're not are out of date or
That's prophetic. You see, Jesus, the man that is called, Jesus,
Yeah.
remember his name is Yahshua.
yeah.
Yahshua was a disciple of John. John was the man. John was the prophet. The man called Jesus, when he was baptized. Baptized had nothing to do with the water. Again, the scriptures are written.
Go back for a moment in your mind. He's just said, my father said that he's John. He also said he's a Messiah of the New Testament.
Right.
But the Messiah that was promised to come to deliver the children of Israel would be in the Old Testament. All the prophecy that promised Judah being returned to their own land is in the Old Testament.
Yes.
The words that were spoken in the Old Testament, they put in the New, that they call the Gospels. Every word that was spoken, what you think is the New Testament, comes from the Old Testament. Even in Hebrew, that was spoken over 2,030 years ago, were placed on Hebrew scrolls of the Old Testament, especially the book called Daniel and Micah.
Mm-hmm.
You got it? Yirmiyahu and Isaiah, two more other books. The book called Revelation is supplements to those books.
Mm-hmm.
The book called Revelation is a supplement to Isaiah, Daniel, Zechariah, Micah, Malachi. Especially Zechariah, which is full of symbolics and cryptics, and Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
And then Micah also, because he's the seven angels, 7 chapters. Each chapter became a spirit.
King.
And each chapter also became an eye. The 7 eyes are found in Zechariah.
Mm-hmm.
7 eyes, 7 candlesticks, 7 lamps, all in the book called Micah. There is no book called Revelation. Or where's the prophet whose name is Revelation? Where's the Hebrew prophet named Revelation? Who is Revelation? Who is he? The title of this testimony today is A Revelation of Heaven. So where's Revelation? Now you hear him say he is John. John was the prophet. John was the man. The man they called Jesus, and remember his name was Yahshua. He was a disciple of John. Let it play.
Figuratively, literally, in
Let's go back a little bit.
similes.
Let's go back a little bit, a couple of seconds before that, so we can get the entirety.
Of John. John was the man. John was the prophet. The man called Jesus, when he was baptized. Baptized had nothing to do with the water. Again, the scriptures are written figuratively, literally, in metaphors, similes, in prose, and in poetry, and full of allegories. So when you read of the man that was called Jesus being baptized and being put under water, then I would have to teach you what baptized means. You'd have to break down the word baptized in all of its letters. See, every word is scientifically composed of letters that are words within themselves. Every letter is a word. So when you break down the word baptized, you have B, which follows A, and I am A. Alpha. B follows the series of A. And B is also the word BE.
My father identified himself, revealed himself again, symbolically, allegorically, prophetically, as A.
That's good.
And then he said B follows the series of A. The series is what A has done.
Right.
A came here in 1979, and he did a series of things that happened while he was here. Now here comes B to follow the series of A, which is the same as continuing his will, not his works,
Right.
his will. So B would come and follow the series of A's will to continue until the end, to fulfill B's work. Now B is going to come and finish his work. Why? Because he's of the Old Testament. And all the promises of the Old Testament must come with B to follow the series of A to be fulfilled to the end till you get to Z. When you get to Z, then you'll be in Zion.
Mm.
Simple, but you don't believe that. Why? Because it's true. You've been deceived. Now, if it wasn't true, then you'll believe it. I mean, we can't get you to. I know one thing though: if you don't come to me, you're going to die.
Mhm.
But you don't believe that because you think it's a lie. But it's true. So some do believe, and those who believe are going to come and they will live.
Mhm.
Those who don't believe, they're going to stay out and they're going to die. Now you can read Isaiah chapter 55. You don't have to go to it. Go to Isaiah chapter 55.
Mhm.
I said back in summer how cold it's going to be this winter.
Mhm.
I also said other things that happened. I said in 2015, you can check my timeline. You can go back to my timeline on social media, Facebook. You can go back to 2015, and I posted in 2015 that a time is coming soon that my father is going to cause something big to happen on this planet, catastrophic. And so much as to it's going to cause people in the United States to come down to Miami to be with me.
Mhm.
And when that happens, everyone's going to have to put on a face mask.
Mm.
I said that.
Mhm.
I said there's going to come a time on this planet when every single soul that walks out of a house or go anywhere, store, is going to have to wear a mask over their face because something terrible is coming. That was 2015. And there was no COVID-15 back in those days. There was no such thing as COVID-15.
Mhm.
And wouldn't you know, as late as October of 2019, that every single soul on this planet was forced to wear masks wherever they went.
Mhm.
It came out of my mouth. I didn't say it because it was prophecy. I said it to make it happen. Why? Read it. Verse 11. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 11. Read it.
Isaiah chapter 55, verse 11, quote, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth.
It went out of my mouth. And what happened?
It shall not return unto me void."
Not void. That means when it returns, it would be fulfilled.
Mhm.
And what?
"But it shall accomplish that which I please."
All that I please will accomplish it. Every word I say is going to accomplish what I want, and then I'll be pleased. Whether what?
"And it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it."
Right.
End quote.
Exactly. Why? Because I'm peace.
Mhm.
I'm peace. I am peace. Go to Micah chapter 5 for a moment. Verse 5. I am peace.
Mhm.
I'm shalom. You're looking for world peace. That's shalom.
Right.
I'm shalom. Read verse 5. Micah chapter 5, verse 5. I told you it's one of the seals. 7 seals.
Mhm. Micah chapter 5, verse 5, quote, "And this man shall be the peace,
Mm-hmm.
when the Assyrian shall come into our land, and when he shall tread in our palaces, then shall we raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men."
I am peace. Shalom. At one time known as Shalomo. In English, is Solomon,
Mm.
the wisest that ever lived. Second to God, wisdom. That would be B.
Right.
That's the same as B. I mean, that clever, sagacious, adroit, extremely wise. Right? So that means since I'm shalom, which is peace in Hebrew, right? I mean, every word that I say comes to pass, it don't return to be void. Every word I utter, it comes to pass.
Yeah.
And I have the power to stop hurricanes from coming across Miami-Dade County. I've been doing it since 2007. As a meteorologist of the world, come on national television and international television, and predict where a hurricane is going to go by their computer models. They have about 6 or 7 of them. Even the European model has already forecasted the hurricane, whatever the name they gave it, is going to come across Miami-Dade County. So everyone should prepare and get ready. And I see that. I saw it. Home Depot looked like it was a candy factory, giving away free candy. Walmart giving away water. Windows boarded up. Doors boarded up. And everyone was preparing. The next thing you know, I utter my mouth to my as I always did throughout history. And then all of a sudden, another forecast come on moments later and said, well, the cone has shifted now a little bit. We don't know what happened, but it shifted. So now it looks like South Florida is out of the hurricane cone. And all of a sudden it goes around Key West and goes on the other side and hit up Tampa and Fort Myers and those places. And then here come another one from the West Coast. Head toward the west, hit up the East Coast. Let's go straight up. Do your research and see if I'm lying. But see, that's true, but you don't believe that because it's true. You don't believe that. Now, if it was a lie, you'll believe it. Why? Because you've been deceived. But check your records back from 2007 to 2022 and watch and follow your hurricanes during those seasons. And monitor all the ones that was predicted to come across South Florida and see what happened to them. I had witnesses who saw me do it. It's in the Bible. That's in Nahum chapter 1. Read it. Nahum chapter 1. Start at verse 2 and read to about verse 7. It's there. I have my way in the whirlwind and in the storms. Both of us are there. My father and myself is in Nahum. But check it out for yourself. The last hurricane that hit South Florida, and you cannot count Irma. That was a feeder band. Irma, I went across Key West through the Florida Keys. We just got a feeder band of Irma in 2017. And that's how powerful it was. Just a feeder band knocked down trees and did a little bit of damage and knocked out power. Could you imagine the eye? Well, go back to Irma of 2017 and see what it did. Look at the photographs of Key West, the Florida Keys. They turned the keys into just padlocks. There was no keys to open the locks after Irma went through there. The last eye of a storm that hit Broward or Dade County or Miami-Dade County, Broward County in South Florida was named Wilma of 2006, before I came back from the Bahamas, before I had arrived. Irma. The most destructive was Andrew in 1992. And I even predicted that. I told those that I was around that summer, June of 1992, I told them to prepare. A terrible storm is coming this way, and they laughed at me. Why? Because it was true. They thought it was a lie. I saw the vision of trees and houses down in a vision that my father put in my mind in June of 1992. I'll never forget it. And I told all those who were around me, even those who thought they were my family, prepare. Get your candles, flashlights, get food, stock up, get generators. It's coming. They said, no, it's not. We never get hurricanes. I said, okay. You think it's a lie, but it was true. Why? You've been deceived. And what happened the last week of August of 1992? Andrew. I traveled to New Orleans in 2005. In the Bahamas. I was in the Bahamas on an island called Nassau. And my father came to me in a vision one night, late July of 2005, and said, go to New Orleans, where I was arrested by the FBI. And tell those that you come across that I'm sending the whirlwind that way. And before you do pamphlets. And I had my office. I had my own security company. I had money that I didn't even need. So I used it to make pamphlets, and I typed it up and had them copied and took it with me on the plane. I left the first week of August 2005, the very first few days, August 2nd, and flew from Nassau International Airport to Miami International Airport, a connecting flight that morning. I flew from Miami MIA right to Louis Armstrong Airport, New Orleans. And after I disembarked from that jet, I caught a bus from the airport, went right up Canal Street, stopped to a hotel on Canal Street, checked in, put my bag up. After I did, came back down with the pamphlets in my hand in the bag, and got on the same bus and rode right up Canal Street to downtown New Orleans, Louisiana, and got off of Canal Street. August 2nd. I can show you my passport stamped August 2nd, 2005. United States, or whatever passport I had. And as I walked, dressed in all white, I had on all white. Even had my head wrapped in white. And I walked up and down Canal Street, Walgreens. I still see myself on the corner, Walgreens right down, walking up by the library and walked all over, passing out pamphlets. Have you heard of Yahweh? Yahweh is God. Get ready, a hurricane coming his way. Some looked at me and said, "You crazy?" And took the paper and balled it up and threw it down in my face. I picked it up and unfolded it, gave it to somebody to read it. I said, "Come on, brother, a hurricane coming. You got to get ready. A bad hurricane comes his way." Nigga, get out of here. New Orleans, look at the hurricanes here. Terrible storm. I said, "Ain't no, you get no storm, hurricane." Okay. I was down there for about 2 hours, passing out literature. I walked back and see it on the floor, on the ground. Got back on the bus, went to the library first, went to the library to check up for some knowledge, see what Louisiana got, the slaves of Louisiana. Stayed in the library for about 30 or 40 minutes, hopped back on the Canal Street bus, got back off, looking at mother and her child on the bus, sitting in the back. The child was young enough, too young to even have the feet on the ground. Must have been about 3 years old, maybe 3. Kept staring at me like she was looking at someone who her mother could not see.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did have my beard. It was not as white as it is now, but I had my beard about as long as it is now. And as I winked my eye at her, and then she held onto her mother's dress like, "This man just did something." It was I. And then I asked the mother, I said, "That's your daughter?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Here's something I want you to read. You ever heard of Yahweh?" "Yeah, I heard of Yahweh. Read about Yahweh. A terrible storm coming his way." She said, "No, thank you." Next thing I know, they got up and moved to the front. She took her daughter and sat up front. Got away from me. I said, "Okay." Stayed overnight. Only one night. I did what my aunt asked me to do. I followed his commandment. Hopped back on a flight the next morning. Stopped in Miami for one day to shop for my business. Hopped back on the flight 2 days later, back to Nassau, Bahamas, 2005, August. And as I left my office business every day, I tuned in to Channel 7 WSBN News, local station for ZNS, with ZNS and the Bahamas News in Nassau. Satellite, you can get all the news feeds, affiliates from Florida. Every day I sat in front of that television to watch the weather report. Nothing for me. 2 weeks went by, nothing for me. I'm looking for Africa. I'm looking towards Africa to see what was for me. I know that was in my imagination. I know when my ARP speaks to me. Mental telepathy, superior power of mind, celestial communication, transition. The antennas on my bed, the antennas that we need to communicate, the tone in my head that I hear him calling and telling me and speaking to me. I hear it. And I know that was in my mind. I spent hundreds of dollars to go from Nassau to New Orleans. I know it was in my imagination. But where's the storm coming from? Africa. I'm looking for a tropical wave coming off Africa. Nothing. 2 weeks. Third week, nothing. Then finally, towards the end of August 2005, I'm looking at the United States meteorologist, and all of a sudden, the Bahamian meteorologist at ZNS is telling us in the Bahamas that there's a tropical wave forming off the coast of Nassau. And I said, what? About 120, 180 miles from Nassau, a tropical wave forming off the island, Bahamas Island waters. Never before heard in the history of this world. Never. And all of a sudden, it got stronger and stronger to head towards Nassau. And then the United States took over. And then all of a sudden, it goes around Nassau and other islands, and all of a sudden, it gets a name. They call it Katrina. The name of my third daughter out of my loins, Katrina, the third daughter of my loins. Deputy sheriff today. She's a deputy sheriff. The law, Shiloh. And as it was going around the Bahama Islands, it started picking up strength and speed. Katrina went around Nassau, went around the islands of the Bahamas, went around the Keys, and took the same path that I was taking on the plane up in the Gulf, and headed straight for New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans, Louisiana, where my father was taken into custody by the FBI, the federal government, the United States, FBI, on November 7th, 1990. And it became a Cat 5 hurricane. A Cat 5. And I sat there in my apartment in the Bahamas and watched it on the screen, headed up right towards the same airport that I arrived in Louisiana, New Orleans. And in my mind, I thought of that little girl on the bus. And I thought of all those people who threw that literature down. I said, read of Yahweh and get ready. A storm is coming this way. And they laughed and said, nigga, get that out of my face. You know about no Yahweh. I guess I heard Yahweh Ben Yahweh was arrested here 2 years ago. You know about here. He's a false prophet. See, a lot of people don't believe this because they think it's a lie. But it's the truth. That's why they don't believe it. You've been deceived. But I have the proof. It's coming out of my mouth. I'm the living proof. And I have witnesses.
Yeah.
And as that hurricane called Katrina got closer and closer, as a Cat 5 to the coast of Louisiana, New Orleans, I thought of all those people I saw there. I said in my mind, they're going to die. And they did. They were floating in the water after Katrina. I don't have to tell you, you know what Katrina did. And just as I said that, I'm telling you today, a terrible storm is coming this way. But this time it's coming from above. It's going to be fire and brimstone coming from our ships that they call UFOs. I'm putting this world on public notice tonight, today. We are coming. We're already here. Our ship's already here. They showed one in Orlando last week, hovering right above the city. People so blind they couldn't see it. That's only one of our ships. We have more than 20,000, and no Air Force that's made by mankind on this planet can keep up with them. No one can keep up with our ships. When you think you can get where we are, we've already been there and gone. There's no weapon formed that can prosper against us. No radar, no atomic missiles, no leaders of North Korea or South Korea or the United States or Japan or China. No military, Russia or Ukraine can fight against our crafts. I'm taking my planet back. Why? Because you contaminated it. You made it filthy. And why? You deceived my people on the planet. You deceived this whole world. I've come to take my planet back. I'm back. And that's why the earth, all nations shall mourn when they see me. I'm back. And I don't give a damn if you believe I'm the Christ or not. Why? Because you think it's a lie. You've been deceived. Keep looking for a white boy. Keep looking for Jose on Southwest 8th Street in Miami. Or Jesus. That's what it says. Every word comes out of my mouth. I'm saying it. Now go to Jeremiah chapter 28. Let's see if what I'm saying. I'm telling you. Now let's see if it's true. What I'm saying. Turn to Jeremiah and read chapter 28, read verse 9. I'm peace.
Right.
I'm the only one after my father who came along and taught you that there's a difference from shalom and shalom.
Mm.
I'm the only one. And I'm the only one after the day that you're going to bear witness to tell you that heaven is not what you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Read verse 9. Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 9. Read it.
Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 9.
And those who have a Bible, if you're watching, you joined us, go to it and read it to confirm what you're about to hear. See if it's in your Bible. Read it.
Quote, the prophet which prophesieth.
Is there an S at the end of prophet?
Prophet.
One prophet.
One prophet.
That what?
Which prophesieth of peace.
Of peace. Now you got to take that word in English, P-E-A-C-E, and find out what it means in Hebrew. It's going to take you to shalom. You do your concordance. It's going to take you to shalom. Not shalom, but take you to shalom. It's going to take you to the same peace that's in Micah chapter 5, verse 5, the same meaning. So the man who comes and utters something in peace, who become peace, he'll be known as peace. Whoever that man is called peace. Mm-hmm. And prophesied in the name of peace. Mm-hmm. Read that again, all over again.
The prophet, which prophesieth of peace.
Of peace.
When the word of the prophet shall come to pass.
Then what?
Then shall the prophet be known that the Lord have truly sent him.
But they don't believe. It says truly. But they don't believe that. Why? Because they've been deceived. So they think it's a lie. Mm. They say the Lord ain't sent him. You just read in your Bible. And then they would say, oh, any man wrote the Bible.
Every excuse they wrote it. All excuses.
Yeah, any excuse they can find. He don't go to church. My pastor didn't say that. So since my pastor didn't say it, he don't go to church, it's a lie. Don't worry about that. You're not going to die. We're not going to die. In fact, if we do, we're going to heaven. I've been good. I don't steal, curse, drink, kill, murder. I don't do any of that stuff. So I know when I die, I'm going to heaven. Isn't that ridiculous that you must die to go to a place that has peace?
Right.
Is that why they say rest in peace?
Yes, so.
Rest in peace. And the only rest in peace is a man peace who's resting right now in your face. And here's the rest of me. Right now, peace. Let the rest of the video play. Now go back to YouTube. Here's what else my father had to say in 1986.
Which comes into existence as a result of A. So, therefore, John was prophesying about A coming, which is the first in the series. And the second set of the word is APT, meaning apt. Now, to be apt, you have to be, that meant that the man was baptized by John, had to become clever, adroit, sagacious, etc., in the ism of John. That made him an if.
You don't even know what the IFT is. IFFT. And I already gave a testimony on the IFT. I'm the IFT. IFFT. But you know what that means. He said it, they still don't know what it means. Study it. I'm not going to teach you today what it is. Let it play.
That's why he was called John the Baptist. See, he too he came to be in the knowledge of Yahweh, and he then subsequently became apt in the ism, which is the dogma and the laws of Yahweh. So, since John was the one that was the prophet, then the man that was called Jesus was baptized by him. That made him a student and a disciple of John, not the one. And when he attempted to assume the mantle of the one, he began to teach secrets that were not to be taught until the time of the one to come. He was 2,000 years, well, 1,900 years early. Okay.
Now did you hear that? they look at the video, they claim to look at the video, they reposted it years ago. And yet they didn't have my father said, he gave them a hint and said he was 2,000 years, 1,900 years too early. Realized that this was recorded in 1986. The interview took place in 1986. Why would he say 2,000 years too early? Because the one they're looking for would come after the year 2000. He would come after the year 2000. In the year 2000, my aunt was in prison. And after he got out of prison on September 26, 2001, he still wasn't allowed to come back around his people. And yet my people are still looking and following, looking at my odd photos, have them posted up all over their bodies. And there's nothing wrong with posting them. I'm not saying that. But they're looking for him to come back out that photo.
Right.
It's looking exactly like that photo is. Wearing T-shirts with photo image and word on it. Throwing picnics and parties, anniversaries of him, waiting for him to return. Because they know he did not forget them. They're going to leave them behind. Now realizing that he left there behind. He left there behind. He left their behinds on May 7, 2007. He left them. He left them behind. But they're looking for him to come back. Why? Because they turned reality into deception and have a church mentality. They deceived you. You think he's coming back like a ghost, when yet he's God. He's coming back, but you're not going to see how he come back. What you mean he's coming back? He never left. He was always here. You just cannot see him. You may can hear him through this body, but he never left. He's God. You can't kill God. Neither would God kill himself. Are you ludicrous? But they can't let that go. That's one group. They follow each other. They all follow one another. If somebody say Yahweh, the other one say Yahweh. One say praise Yahweh, the other one say praise Yahweh. Praise Yahweh ben Yahweh, the other say praise Yahweh ben Yahweh. Why? They don't want to be left out. They want to be a part of the group. They want to be loved by the group. They don't want to be singled out and be called a rebel, a devil. If you don't say Yahweh ben Yahweh, you are a devil. You follow Mika. So you say. So if I say Shalom family, you say Shalom family. You have to say Shalom King too, and spell it Shalom. Don't pay no attention to Mika. We've been taught Shalom. Keep Shalom. Yahweh ben Yahweh right here. He coming back. Be here soon. Just don't leave the house long because you'll miss him. He's gonna be right here. He'll be right here. He's gonna look just like he did too when he left. Wearing white. Play the rest of this. Let's see why he wore white.
And when he began to reveal the knowledge of who Satan was, John 8:44, when he began to reveal the knowledge of the Son, the knowledge of...
Pause. Now, see, over 2,022 years ago, I was revealing the knowledge and the secrets of Satan and who the Son was. I was doing it over 2,022 years ago, as I'm doing today. But I was too early. Oh, I revealed to the world long time ago who Satan is and who the Son is. But because I did that back then, too early, they crucified me. They say, he's trying to call himself the Son of God. And we know who the Son of God is. It's John. Yochanan. He's the Son of God. He baptized all these people. That's got to be the Son of God. Yochanan. And now here he come along. Yahshua said he's the Son of God. Y'all got to get rid of him. Hey, Pilate, if you don't kill him, we're going to kill him. Because we have a law. Anybody who go around doing that, they got to be stoned to death. And then we got to hang that body on a tree until sundown. That's in Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
We're not going to go to it. You study it and look for it. I speak. See, you think it's a lie because I'm speaking the truth. You've been deceived. And I was revealing secrets. Boy, they grabbed it. Yeah, you got to get him. Let's take him to Pilate. Pilate, if you don't crucify this man for violating our law, then you're not a part of Caesar. You are violating Caesar. I mean, you're really not an American. Well, I don't have no fault in this man. He didn't do nothing to me. Okay, we'll give him to us. We'll show you how it's done. And even the smallest child picked up a rock and threw it. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead, throw it at him.
God.
It's okay. Ema, you mean I got to go throw it at him? He's a devil. He's got the devil in him. So we're talking about he's God, this other God.
Mm.
Don't you know who the Son of God was? Yeah, they cut off his head. Oh, they did? Yeah, in prison. John the Baptist. And would they fail to realize that Jesus never went to prison?
Right. It would never be it.
The Christ never went to prison. But John did.
Mm-hmm.
Just as it was then, as it was today. Right? But this time they're not going to kill Jesus. You can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because my art would kill them. You better read Revelation chapter 11, verse 7.
Told him.
You better read Revelation chapter 11 and verse 7.
Not this time.
Not this time. He wrote a book and told him, not this time you won't. Let that, a couple more seconds of that.
Whose right to rule it was. He could not afford to be left alive. So for breaking the secret, for teaching the secret that he had learned in secret, he was killed for it. And that's why he was hung in shorts, without any clothes on, because he was initiated in that manner. That's why his collarbone was broken, and his head was hung to the side. You see? Because that's a sign that all men who study in secret understand quite well. And I'm the only one to make that clear.
Okay, he's the only one to make that clear. Okay, come out of that and go back to the internet, and you're going to see a recording that he made. Now, here's a recording. It's verbal. It's not going to be visual. That the same one who these people are calling Yahweh ben Yahweh recorded while he was, 14 months into incarceration? That would have been 1991 or 92.
Yeah.
That would have been sometime around January, February 1992 when he recorded what you're about to hear in prison. You should see it up there.
Lost everything.
Lost everything?
Yeah, went to YouTube.
Okay, you have to go to Facebook, and it should have been. I mean, TV's not so smart. You go to my messenger then. And while we're doing that, right, get ready to go to Genesis chapter 1. While you're looking for that, I would like for all others to just take your writing utensil. I told you to grab something to write with, and write on a paper heaven. Of course, from left to right because it's English. From left to right. See, look at the screen. From left to right. Write down HEAVEN. Heaven. You could just type it, look for Danny. Yeah. We go through that. And you're gonna look for older messages. No. That way we hit right on the television. Scroll down. Is that it? It was sometime around August, I believe. Go scroll down. It may be somewhere around there. Yeah, August. Click on it. Okay, and I pray by now you wrote down heaven, HEAVEN, heaven.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go to the second and last recording we're going to present during this testimony of my father on what he recorded in prison around February of 1992, 14 months after November 7th, 1990. Would that be right?
Yeah.
Okay, let it play. It's only about 5 minutes or so.
I made up my mind on last night that I'm going into my secret closet and pick up my holy robes that I laid aside and put in my secret closet to come and get you. And I've been walking among you without my holy robes for 12 years. But I'm picking them up and putting them on. And I'm going into the box and take out my starry crown and I'm putting it on my head. And I'm reaching into the box and picking up my scepter. It's in my right hand. And I'm going to sit on my holy throne in true holiness. And that's the only way I'm going to walk.
What they didn't hear was my arm was telling them, preparing them that he's going to go back where he come from. They're not going to see him again. Not in that body. He's telling them right then in 1992, and this is before I went to go meet him for the last time, face to face, in jail, incarcerated at the Turner Guilford Knight Institute, right here in Miami, Florida. I had that power. He gave me that power to come see him face to face, one-on-one conversation. All I had to do was show my gold shield and walk right into jail. I told them who I wanted to see, and they did it. It was that way. We had them confounded. They didn't know who I was. See, I went incognito. I don't even believe I had my beard then. I took off my beard to become more incognito. They thought I was a state detective, state investigator for the judicial system. And I was. I held that position. But they didn't know I was who they called Mika. And they did not know I was and still is who they call Jesus, the Christ. They didn't know that. That means I went to go see John the Baptist in jail, in prison, as Jesus went to go see him before. But you didn't know that. They didn't record that. Before they beheaded him. But they didn't know that. So I had to stop and pause that for a moment so you could hear him say he's going to put back on his starry crown and sit back on his throne up there, over there, away from here. I mean, light years away from here, from everlasting. Even as he sits in his mothership and watch everything that's going on right now on this planet on television. Big screen, too. This is that's 86 inches. Yeah, try 86 feet. Try 86 feet. Let it play.
And if you ever hope to be in my presence, you will certainly have to be an angel of Yahweh. And that's a fact. Because I'm definitely going to Galilee. And for you who think that's a physical place, you still have a serious problem. You need a new man real bad. You need to get rid of the deceitful lust real bad. Because it's a new mindset where I live, where I'm going, and where you're going to have to be.
New mindset means you must circumcise your mind now. You must circumcise your mind and renew the spirit of your mind. And that means before the children of Israel, even after the children of Israel were taken over to Jordan, Yahshua had to circumcise all the children of Israel again. But that was not a physical circumcision. It was a spiritual circumcision, a moral circumcision. And that means you have to renew the spirit of your mind and circumcise your own mind. It's in Joshua chapter 5. It's also in Isaiah. Renew the spirit of your mind. Come out of that dead mindset. That's what my father was telling them way back in 1992. But they don't believe that. Why? Because it's true. You've been deceived. The whole world.
Am I going to get out of here physically? Of course I am. Of course I am. I've made up my mind to do so. And because I've made up my mind to do so, I am. And I know some of you will get so excited and you want to prepare for me to come home. And you can just see yourself now getting all this dinner ready, etc. And I may not be there. You see, the real feast is not physical. And none of you will be able to deceive me with a physical feast. In fact, I'm not going to allow an unclean person to fix a meal for me anyway. Some of you think unclean is when you're on the issue. I know. Some of you think unclean means when your hands haven't been washed, when your physical clothes are soiled. No, 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 no. The old mindset is unclean. I certainly would not allow him to walk beside me. That's for sure. So what makes you think things are going to be the same when I come out? I'm just not the same man that was arrested November 7th, 1990. I've been here now 14 months, and I'm totally different. I've been transformed, and I have transcended, and I have transfigured.
They didn't hear that. My father told them back in 1992 he's not the same man. So why are they treating him as if he's the same man? Why are they still treating him as if he's the same man after he ascended over 15 years ago? They didn't hear this? Just not the same man. They thought they knew him. He transfigured, transformed. That's me. He went up in 1992. He been gone. They thought because that physical vessel went up, or physical vessel left on May 7th, 2007, that was it. He been gone. And remember, that's before September of 1992 when I went to go see him. And when I saw him walking, I said in my mind, and I'm looking at his face, as his eyes were looking through my soul. When I saw him and he's looking at me, at my soul, and when they was taking him back to his cell with chains on his feet and on his hands, his wrists, in my mind, I saw it. I said, that's not the same one. That's not Yahweh ben Yahweh. I was sitting in my mind because that's how I knew him, Yahweh ben Yahweh. I said, that is not my fight. I was calling him Abba. That's all I addressed him as we were speaking. I said, Abba, what you want me to do? But when he went back, and he didn't look back at me. And when I saw them taking him away, those correction officers, I said, who is that? And then I sent a recording to the Peace Foundation and told them. And I told them who I was in that recording. And I said, the man who you think, that's my father. The one who you think he was arrested, I said, that's my father. And when he come out, don't you touch him. I don't want your filthy hands to be on him. I didn't hear that recording. I didn't hear this recording. But I said, I don't want your filthy hands on him. You leave him alone. Don't you touch my father with your evil selves. I told him. I said, if you know who is talking to you, you'll come get me. You'll humble yourself. You got my father's children out there in the wilderness waiting for the wolves to come and grab them. I remember what I said. Next thing I know, they put me out of their congregation. My father did not put me out of the temple. How could he put me out of the temple? And I'm the temple.
Come on.
I'm the tabernacle. How are you going to put the tabernacle out of the tabernacle? But you don't believe that. Why? Because it's true. You've been deceived. My father never put me out of the temple. He sent me away from them. He sent me away from the vagabonds and the evildoers, the hypocrites, the liars. He sent me away to hide me in the wilderness. And that's what I did. I hid in the wilderness for 40 years. And brought back with me manna. I brought back manna from heaven with me. No, I didn't bring it up. I didn't bring it from heaven. I brought manna down with me from where we live.
Right.
It was not heaven.
Yeah.
I brought some down with me from the ship I came back in. And here it is right here. That way I knew I wouldn't lose it.
Right.
If I lose the manna, that means I lost my mind. And I'm not going to lose my mind. Even if some think, he lost his mind. Well, go find it for me. Meanwhile, you've been deceived. You think it's a lie. Let the rest play.
Right here. And those of you that's been coming out here to see my body, my dead body, Yes, I've been slain for you. I've already been slain for you. I have suffered for you, and I'm tired of hanging on the cross for you. I've done it. I have fulfilled the word in doing it. And if you think you're just going to come out here and watch my body in this tomb forever, you're sadly mistaken. Terribly mistaken. So I'm coming off the cross, that's a fact. I've just come down. I came down last night. I'm off. I'm already off. And it's only a matter of whatever time decreed that I'm physically leaving here. I guarantee it's not long. That doesn't mean you'll see me. It certainly doesn't mean that you will see me. If you have some oil in your lamp, you'll be able to see me. If you decide that you want to be holy, you will see me. Because I am not going to allow unholy people to be around me anymore. I am only interested in those who will reflect my light. Because I am self-luminous. And when you master the knowledge of your name, then you too will become self-luminous. But if you don't have the knowledge of your name, you will never be self-luminous. You have walked in my light for 12 long, hard, suffering years on my part. And I have suffered your soiled hands and your sore mentality. And I'm not coming back to it. Ever. That's over and done. And it's finished. And you can read Matthew chapter 5, verse 8. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see Yahweh. In verse 16, let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father, Yahweh, which is in heaven. So you can't do this without the knowledge of your name and live it. You can't walk in my light anymore. It's over. See, all of you been wearing white because I wore it. Look at how.
The last thing my father said was, y'all are wearing white because I wore white. And you have no idea why he wore white. And they still walk around wearing white, even with Yahweh on the t-shirts, and have no idea. White head wraps. Why? Ask yourself, why? Why are you wearing white? I'm going to ask you the question. Why? Here I am dressed in purple. And I have white on my head because you are hard-headed. And not only that, you see again my new name that I said I would write on my forehead upside down. Why? Because you're upside down. You wearing white, well, maybe you should be wearing black. The angels in heaven wear black. You heard in that recording, my father said, you study your name. No, you come into the knowledge of your name.
Right.
He said, you're not going to be in a pure mind until you come into the knowledge of your name. Now you must know the knowledge of your name. But you don't know the knowledge of your name. I'm not speaking about your name. I'm speaking of your name. You got to study your name. In other words, you have to study YOURNAME. You have to study those two words so you can know what your name means. Their minds are so lame. You thought you were speaking of your personal name. He didn't say your personal name. Did he say your personal name? But he's speaking to an audience of people, like 8 billion people. So why did he say single out all of your names? Until you study your names. He said your name, as if he's speaking to, you thought he was speaking to one individual. Your name is referring to one individual. He's speaking to your name, which is the etymology and the symbolic and the revelation, the crypto message that was into you. But you couldn't get that. Although I demonstrated and I already revealed it. Your name. Those two words, your name. And part of that is me. N-A-M-E. Me. Memyod. And we're not going to go into that. It's on the video. You can find it. My father also, during that time, said he's going to get out. And he did. Physically. Going back just for a moment, in August of 2001, in August of 2001, he was allowed, if he wanted to pay a certain monies that they wanted him to pay, he could have gotten out. He had the money. In mid-August of 2001, he was free. But he knew when he wanted to leave, but you didn't know. And even after September 11th, 2001, he waited for that to happen. Why? Because 9/11, another numerical, symbolic, cryptic message in the scriptures, 9 and 11.
Mhm.
And finally, he told them, "This is when I want to leave. I want to go back to Miami." And he arrived back to Miami just before sundown on September 26, 2001. That's when he arrived back to Miami and lived right up there on 147th Street, North Miami. Why? Because at sundown, September 26 is the first day of the Feast of Tabernacles that today the people in the world are calling Christmas. The first day of the Feast of Tabernacles reference Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 34. That's the true birth date of the Christ. Again, the Christians call it September 29th, St. Michael's Day, as the Jews recognize as Yom Kippur and Sukkot. Now go, you wrote down HE. As we get ready, we're going to let you do what you want to do for the rest of the day. But before I go, you wrote down HEAVEN. Turn to Revelation. Actually, go to the beginning. Go to Genesis chapter 1, read verse 1. I'm going to go with it. Because you got to pull up your concordance. For those who do not have a concordance, we're going to help you. Go to, I'm going to read with you. Read that, please.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 1,
Mm-hmm.
quote, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth."
Now notice,
End quote.
Notice in this verse, the word created is there. Also notice that the appellation known as God, G-O-D, is there. It's an appellation. But also notice that they printed it from the original Hebrew scrolls, how they saw it. The elders told them what it was, but they printed capital G, lowercase o-d, and not a capital L-O-R-D in all caps. That's because this capital G, lowercase o-d is not the Father. This is the Son. That means in the beginning, the Son created something that you thought was heaven. But he also created the earth. And that's why heaven is not plural. See, my Father created the heavens, but the Son created a particular heaven. And you wrote it down on your paper. H-E-A-V-E-N. Now go to concordance before we go any further and look up the word created. Type that in your search box. Go to the concordance, type in created. Because the Son created something to be revealed in the last days to weed out the goat from the sheep. And because Satan had the whole world upside down, you thought heaven was a place that's good. In fact, you thought heaven was a physical place. And you just heard my father say you thought it was a physical place to be with me. If you think I'm going to be in a physical place, you have another thought coming. Because Galilee is not a physical place. So you got to be able to Galilee. But you got to study Galilee. That you think is Galilee. Why you think it have two E's at the end in English. There's no vowels in Hebrew.
Right.
What do you have? How many times you typed in created?
Mm-hmm.
In past tense.
Okay.
How many times?
45 times.
45.
38
How many verses?
38 verses.
45 times printed, not written, in the King James Version Bible. 48 times in 30.
45 times and 38
45
verses.
times and 38 verses.
Mm-hmm.
That means some verses have it twice. What do you see as a reference in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1? There should be a reference in Hebrew.
They actually have two references.
Wait. 2? I wonder why they put 2 there. What did the elders of Israel tell those theologians of King James? What are they trying to find out what the Son did with this creation and now in English? What was the original Hebrew word that was there in the scrolls? Click on the first one. That's the most popular. Are you telling me that would be 1254 H?
That is H1254.
H1254. Click on that and see what that creation means.
Okay. It means to create, shape,
Wait, to create, shape,
form.
That means the Son created something and then shaped it to be formed into something else or to become a character.
Mm.
The Son created what you thought was heaven to take on a certain shape in the womb to be formed to become something else, to walk around.
Mm.
You think it's heaven. That's why you have H-E in the front of V-E-A-N, because it became a he.
Mm.
What you thought was heaven actually became a he that the Son created and then shaped it and then formed him to become something else that's opposite of heaven because he became evil.
Wow.
Read what else it says. That's the first meaning.
Right.
What else it says?
A, the quell, to shape.
Wait now. See, you got create. And what else? Just what?
Fashion.
This person would become fashioned. What else?
Create, in parentheses, always with God as subject.
So created is always with God of subject. So we need a particular subject that was created that the Son did that later on was revealed and that was crypto that he shaped and formed to become something other than what you think it is. Why? Because you've been deceived. You think it's the truth, when yet it's a lie. But yet you think it's a lie, and I bet it's still the truth.
Mm.
We're called what? Heaven. That's why I have the keys of death and hell, and heaven and earth. I also have the keys of heaven and hell. Why? Because you heard the old saying, heaven is right here on earth, and so is hell. You have anything else?
Under I, we have
Under I.
Of heaven and earth.
This is created? How do you get created of heaven and earth? That means he created something of heaven to walk around, and then he created himself to be earth to walk around.
Right.
They become a shape and form. That's why someone took up and formed him of the dust of the ground in chapter 2. And then man became a living soul. But it was all created by the Son. And what else? This is a secret, but it's a revelation. I'm revealing today.
And
What else?
under Roman numeral 2 of individual man.
Wait. Created, you found of individual man, as if I was making that up. See, that's a he. He is man.
Right.
Created. That means the Son created a he that's a man who became Avon. But we didn't get to that yet. And what else?
Under 3, we have of new conditions.
Of new conditions.
And
There's no V in Hebrew anyway. Where V come from? They cut the W in half and made it a V. That means they took out the protection from the wall. What else?
Of transformations.
Created, of transformation. As my arm say, he transformed and went back up. But he didn't go back. I mean, he used heaven because he was on their level.
Right.
You remember, he was in prison. They monitored everything he was saying. Make sure he don't violate the onerous rule. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
Under B, be in the fall to be created.
Okay, to be created. I think we have enough on that particular meaning. Go back and stroll down and see how many times 1254 is it?
Yeah.
How many times in the Old Testament? No, and while you're looking, you say you saw two meanings in verse 1 of Genesis chapter 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Go back to that for a moment. That would be H853.
Yeah.
Okay. Click on that and see what that means. This is created. Begins with Aleph Tav.
Yeah.
That's the first and the last.
That's not the last.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's the first Hebrew alphabet and the last Hebrew alphabet right next to it. They created the word it.
Mhm.
He create it. See, that's create it. Create it.
Right.
That's the ET of create. And not only that's the ET, but that's extraterrestrial.
Right.
So in other words, the sun created something that's extraterrestrial here on earth that you thought was heaven, but it's right here. That also became evil.
Mm.
He created evil. Wait, before you go any further, put up another. You got enough room for another one? Pull up another one. Right? Yeah. And then type in create. Because you got created, right? Past tense. That's the ET.
Right.
Extraterrestrial. Now go to just to create, and I guarantee you it's not going to appear as many times as created did, because he didn't create too much of that. He created a lot, but he only created you create a little.
Wow. 8 times.
8 times out of the whole Bible.
6 verses.
And 6 verses. And I bet all 8 times is only in the Old Testament.
True.
That means nothing was created in the New Testament. Why? It didn't exist.
Right.
But you don't believe that because it's true. Why? You've been deceived.
Mm. Wow.
So go to that meaning. I bet that meaning is the same as 1254.
Yeah, it's the same thing with all of them.
Oh, with all of them.
54.
Oh, well, go to Isaiah chapter 45 for a moment. Go to Isaiah chapter 45 and see something around verse 9 or 10. See if he created something else that was coming from Ezekiel, from Genesis chapter 1.
Would it be verse 7?
Read verse 7.
Yeah. I formed the light.
Okay, now hold on now. See, the light was formed. But the only one who can form the light is the one who's self-luminous.
Right.
That would be God.
Right. That light.
Right? But he was not that light. Somebody else came along and formed light from his creation.
Mm-hmm.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. That means the Father formed the light, but the Son also created a light. That's also in Genesis chapter 1, coming around verse 2 or 3, we said, let there be light. So that means when he created, he also created light. But he had to form it first, because that's the definition of create.
Right.
Created.
Right.
He formed it, shaped it.
Mhm.
Right? So that I also means one, Roman numeral 1. That means one formed a particular light that he created to be along with the earth and heaven.
Mhm.
Okay, so that light became what? I formed the light and did what?
And create darkness.
Oh, so he created darkness. How? By putting darkness in the minds of those who don't believe.
Mhm.
Yet he tried to shine the light. He tried to shine the light in their mind to make them believe, but they don't want to because they've been deceived. Why? They think it's a lie.
Mhm.
So they're going to stay in darkness. But the Spirit walked on their face in the dark,
Right.
because darkness was upon the face of the deep, but they don't want to come out of the deep. They want to stay to the pit of hell. So they stay there. And yet I still walk on their minds and try to give them light, to be the light of the world. As I said, as my Father said in John chapter 1, the light of the world. See, my Father came not as that light, but came to bear witness of the light. And he told him that in the book. What else you have?
I make peace.
Wait. So I make peace. Peace. There we're back to Micah chapter 5, verse 5. Shalom.
Mm-hmm.
Shalom became a man.
Mm-hmm.
And what?
And create evil.
See, evil was created. There's the evil.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
What else?
I, the Lord, do all these things.
Now you have my Father. They say my Father in Isaiah chapter 45 do all these things. And he does. But yet he formed the light, even from of the dust of the ground in chapter 2 of Genesis, verse 7. And that's why he's not the light, because he came to bear witness to the light while he formed the light. Yes, somebody was created that's evil.
Mm.
Isn't that what it says? He created evil?
Mm.
Okay, now go back to the other concordance of created. And you still have only that one reference.
We at H853, we haven't disclosed what that is.
So I know we haven't. I don't want you to yet.
Mhm.
What I want you to do first is stroll down and see how many other references in the Old Testament have that next to it.
Okay.
H853.
Okay.
Let's see if it appears again. You're not going to find it. We're only doing this for those of you.
Right.
Oh, I already know you're not going to find it.
Mhm.
You're going to go all the way to Ezekiel. You're not going to find it.
Right.
What's the last book of the Old Testament that shows?
They have it in Malachi.
In
It's the
Malachi.
last book. And that's it.
Same one, 1254.
And no 853.
Not next to it.
Nope.
And then you go to the New Testament.
Right.
That means the only place where 853 is juxtaposed right next to it with the etymological meaning is chapter 1, verse 1 of Genesis.
Kid.
So now you got to go back and see what 853 means there. That means this is a different creation.
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah.
What is the created?
Right. It says sign of the definite direct object.
Wait, this is a creation as a sign of the direct object.
Mhm.
And what else?
Not translated in English.
So how could they say created? Since it's not translated in English, that means that must have another etymology in it.
It does.
What else it says?
But generally preceding and indicating the accusative. Or,
So it's just an accusation
Mhm.
that something was created.
Right.
That means heaven wasn't created. It's an accusation along with the earth.
Wow. Dang.
You mean all this time you're reading Genesis 1 and 1, they say, or Genesis 1 and 1, all this time you thought the heaven and earth was created, well, yet it's just an accusation
Wow.
that was created by the Son, the Son of God.
That's great.
We'll go to etymology, because you're going to see there ain't no heaven.
And the H2,
Mhm.
6. Okay, we have a sign.
A
or
sign of what?
signal.
A signal. That means in the last days, the Son of Man is going to come back and give you a signal. He himself going to show you a sign. The Lord himself shall show you a sign.
Wow.
The virgin shall conceive and bear a son and call his name Emmanuel. So now here's part of the sign. Sign what? The sign of heaven.
Mm.
In the Bible, somewhere, I know it reads, there's a sign of heaven. Go to Jeremiah chapter 10 and read verse 2.
Wow.
Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2. And this is a sign of heaven that's supposed to come right around the time they think you cut off a tree of the forest to put in your house.
Wow.
They thought it was Christmas tree. Read
Jeremiah
verse, yeah.
chapter 10, verse 2, quote, Thus saith the Lord,
What?
learn not the way of the heathen,
Uh-huh.
and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
There it is. Hold it now. First of all, you learn not the way of the heathen. What the heathen do? They put a tree in their house every November, December, some even up to March. They don't want to get rid of it. And they celebrate Christmas. Think it's Christ's birthday on December 25th. That's what the heathens do. And not only that, they read on down. Read on down.
For the heathen are dismayed at them.
They dismayed. See, they are going to be dismayed at the signs of heaven. Why are they dismayed at the signs of heaven? You think heaven was up? Because they know UFOs fly up there. And they also know that when the sun comes back, he's going to reveal what heaven really is. That way, that's why they're going to be dismayed. They're going to say, oh, Lord, now he got us. We can't tell them they're going to heaven anymore because now we have to find out who heaven is. Avon. Now you know all of a sudden heaven is Avon. Because he is Avon. Read on down.
Verse 3.
Yes.
For the customs of the people are
They have a
vain.
custom that they do every year in December. It's a custom. And the Bible is telling you it is vain. What's vain?
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest.
They're cutting a tree out of the forest, even up north, a spruce tree with pines on it and pine cones on it and under it. And they do what?
The work of the hands of the workman.
What?
With the axe.
With the axe. This tree is a live tree, nature. Right? And what?
Verse 4.
Verse 4.
They deck it with silver.
Deck the halls with balls of folly. Ha la 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 la. Fa la 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 la. Deck the halls with you fools you. Following the heathens. They deck it with silver tinsels and gold tinsels and balls and put lights on it. And the lights get so hot until they burn up the tree, and then they burn the curtains. Next thing you know, the alarm goes off in the house, a fire alarm. They burn up your house. You're out there in the snow on the news saying, I lost everything. We have no place to go. Everything I had was in that house because of what you call a Christmas tree. Oh, yeah, they put candles on it too. But that's the way of the heathen. Right? And so that's what else?
And with the gold.
And with gold.
They fasten it with nails.
Fasten it with nails on stands so it don't move in the house. And put it right in front of the window so all the neighbors can see it. See, I don't know why y'all are celebrating Christmas. See, I got my tree. Putting presents under it that they stole from Walmart. Why do you think they take the big bags to Walmart and walk down the electronic department and put cell phones in there? In the bags, shoes in the bags. Sometimes they don't put the shoes in the bag. They walk in there with the old shoes and try on the new shoes, and then look around and see if anybody watching them, and walk out with the new shoes, leave the old shoes under the bench, and then when they get to the car, take the new shoes, put them in the box, and then put them under the tree. Judah and Jose, they both do it. Jose and John, Billy, all of them do it. Margaret, Nancy, they all do it. Shaquisha, all of them do it. Shaquisha, Tyrone, they all do it. What else you got? That's enough. I think but the key is be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
Right.
Now go back to the meaning again of heaven. The 853. That's what that was.
We at the etymology.
It's etymology of what?
Page 226.
What's this say? Etymology.
On the A, we have a distinguishing mark.
A distinguishing mark. What else?
On the B, we have banner.
What?
Banner.
A banner. Uh-huh.
On the C, we have remembrance.
I have to bring your mind in remembrance of what a then really is, who he really is. That the devil deceived us to believe it is heaven. What he did was he put the E and the V together to make you think it's heaven. Yet he is Avon. They put the E and the A together to make you think that Avon is heaven, and he wants you to go there. That I created, but I didn't create it with English letters. I created with olive and taub. Right? Created. What else?
On the D, we have miraculous sign.
A miraculous sign of heaven. Be not dismayed. Of heaven. What?
On the E, we have omen.
It's an omen. I mean, heaven, whatever was created in chapter 1, verse 1 of Genesis is an omen. What else? Anything?
On the F, we have warning.
I'm warning you that heaven's not what you thought it was. What else you have?
On the 2, we have a token.
A token.
An ensign.
An ensign.
Standard.
Uh-huh.
A miracle.
I'm about to perform a miracle in your minds right now, the day before Christmas, and all through the house. Not a creature was stirring, not even this doctor. In your house, not even a mouse. Is that what it said, a mouse? All right, yeah, but with Judah, not even a spouse, because the spouse is out drinking and partying.
Right.
Yeah, rats. Yeah, this was made in the ghetto, huh? The rats. Go back now to Genesis chapter 1, right? Verse 1. Click on heaven. Let's see what that it was. They gonna tell you Shemayim. As if we've been saying someone still saying Ave with V. There's no V in Hebrew. That's Ab.
Right.
Abbe. Beth. Abbe Nu. Abbe Nu. And I did not teach my disciples to say Abbe Nu Shabbat Shemayim. Why? Because I know who Shemayim is.
Right.
I know who Shemayim is.
Mhm.
Why would I say? And there's no such thing as heaven coming down.
Hmm.
New Jerusalem is coming down, but ain't no heaven coming down.
Right.
What you have under heaven?
We have
Sh-
heaven.
Click on
heavens.
Shemayim.
Mhm. Yeah, we
And what's it say? The meaning?
heaven, heavens, sky.
See, now you got one heaven, all of a sudden two heavens. How's that?
Mhm.
In the sky. How come the sky is not an atmospheric pressure of something, a volt? How come it's sky? That means while we up in the airplane and the jet flying from city to city, state to state, we are in heaven.
So,
You mean that's how easy it is to go to heaven? Just hop on a jet and fly in the sky, and we're in heaven. According to this meaning, what else?
visible heavens.
Visible heavens, as if it's invisible. So how could you see the visible heavens? I like to see that. Show me air. Show me some O, X, Y, G-E-N, oxygen. Show it to me. Are you breathing oxygen?
Mhm.
Show it to me. The only way you see frost coming out your mouth because it's cold. That's not oxygen.
Nah,
That's frost. I like for somebody to show me oxygen, and after you do that, show me what color water is. What color is water? The same color as oxygen. It's just that water has a texture you can feel called wet.
Mhm.
Hmm?
Mhm.
Or drink it. Anything else?
We have sky and under.
That's enough. See, you've been deceived.
Yeah. Nothing else happened.
We haven't gotten to the place where it was promised us yet. Let's go keep it. Maybe we're gonna find a place that was promised us after we die.
The one we have.
Please read that heaven is a place where God lives, and with pretty mansions.
We have something similar to be heaven as the abode of God.
The abode of God in heaven, where there's the sky. Now we went from the sky, and all of a sudden we come to where God lives. And all the times I flew 36,000 feet up in the air in the jet, I had never seen where God lived. I never passed by his living room. I have not passed by his living room yet, and saw him sitting in his recliner. Is it supposed to be cloud? Or I know they're telling me, don't you see the clouds that are shaped like God sitting in his recliner? When you fly up there. Don't you see a cloud shaped like a dog? Look at that cloud shaped like a man. See it? That's heaven. These are signs of heaven that the Bible speaks of. Okay, so you've been deceived. Now you wrote down Heaven. Now go to your search box and type in Heaven. Heaven. You have it? Okay, loading. When you get there, how many times does that word appear in the Bible? Print it.
582
So
times.
582 times you saw a cloud in the sky. You saw an abode. Before you get to the Greek meaning, you saw the skies, the air, God, abode with God. Now, I'm sure that the same meaning in Hebrew is going to be there in the Old Testament. What references that?
H8064.
All the way down. That's all you're going to see. I think that's one place where it's not. But go to the New Testament. Go to the Greeks. Let's see what they say what heaven is. Go to the first one in Matthew. First heaven in Matthew. And let's see what they say, the Greeks say heaven is. I'm curious to know myself.
We have Matthew chapter 3, verse 2.
Click on it. It's Greek. G what?
G3772.
Click on it. What's that? What the Greeks say it is?
Okay, they have under one, they have the vaulted expanse of the sky.
Wait, now they still stands. They are still demanding that it's the sky. It's a vault down the sky.
That's what they saying.
It's a vault. Do we need a combination to open the vault up to get this in heaven? What else?
The universe.
Now all of a sudden, heaven is in the universe. That's a vote. I mean, we got to go through a vote. We go through the vote, we get in the universe. What else? Anything else?
The world.
The world. All of a sudden now, the world is heaven. Really? Well, how come the world become heaven? Or how could heaven become the world? See, you believe that because it's a lie. That's what you believe. It's a lie. You've been deceived. What else you have? Greek.
Under B, they have the aerial heavens or sky,
Uh-huh.
the region where the clouds and the tempest gather, and where thunder and lightning are produced.
That's heaven, the sky. And these are the first definitions.
Yeah.
Then they give you the last definition for those who are Christians. That we don't want you to be disappointed. So we want you to also know that this is where God lives.
Right.
The abode.
Right.
Is that, I'm not looking at it. Is that what that is?
Where God dwells. And
Where he
other-
dwells.
And other heavenly beings.
Yeah. Other heavenly beings in heaven, in the sky, was a vote with air and oxygen. And all of a sudden they can defy their gravity with the weight of their bodies. And not in any type of crafts or anything. They just walk in the air in heaven. Go back now to the search box. Well, like we wrote heaven, and you got HEAVEN. You know, go right to the beginning. You do. Now, take the mouse and separate the E from the A. And what you have?
He, Avon.
You have he, Avon. So the only thing you're missing now is, I-S. Right?
Yeah.
So put an I-S. I'm just curious to know. Put an I-S after he is, and then put Avon. I'm just curious to know something. This experiment. This is science.
You got it. He is Avon.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Click on that and see what it comes. If it takes you to anything in the Bible. No, it's not going to tell you. They don't want you to know that haven is a he. They want you to know that haven is heaven. Is. Now take out the is. Go back and take out the is. You've been deceived. And just leave H-E separated, A-V-E-N. And then it takes you anywhere.
Once again, there's no concordance.
Once again, there's no concordance. Is that right? All right. Then put in, since he became multiplied, you got you got H-E.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then put in, he is also a man. Okay, so man became he. But what happens with more than one man? Man. So take out the H-E because it's a he. We got to establish. Put M-E-N. And instead of putting in is, put of. You got it? Now try A-V-E-N and let's see if it takes us to anything.
Oh.
What?
One time.
One time. So this he, men, is of Avon.
Ezekiel chapter 30, verse 17.
And what's this? Read it.
The young men of Avon and
That should be the young men of heaven. Because we took out he, and these are men of he of Avon. Heaven, the young men of heaven, the he of heaven, and what?
of Ibeset
Uh-huh.
shall fall by the sword, and these cities shall go into captivity.
Wow. Now go back to the rest box. Take out all of that. Now that we see that Avon is a man, or Avon is someplace, type in just A-V-E-N. And let's see how many times Avon is written and found in the Bible.
Occurs 3 times in 3 verses.
3 times in 3 verses. And that, I guess that would be Ezekiel, Hosea, and Amos.
That's it.
Same meaning.
Same meaning.
H206.
Again.
Let's click on it and see what it means. That's Aleph, Wab, Nun, Sophie, right?
Yeah.
And that's not, see, that's Wab.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Vav.
All right.
That's Avin. Avin.
I would.
Avin. Not heaven. Not Avin. Awin. When you put he there, H-E, you have Haywin.
All right.
There is no V. There was no letters V and J added to the English alphabet to the 17th century. What meaning does it give you?
They give us vanity.
So Avin is vanity. That means when he is placed there, you want to go to a place that's vanity. You've been deceived. You think it's heaven. What else you have?
Under A, they have a name used contemptuously for the following places of idolatrous worship.
Of idolatry. Idolatry is an idol. You're worshiping an idol, you think it's heaven. It's Avon. Anything else?
They just have cities' name.
City's name. Is that etymology?
It is.
Go to etymology. So that's what they want you. That's the first step because you're not going to go any deeper.
Right.
Now you got to go to the root and go to etymology and see who Avon really is. And when they put H-E in front of it, you think it's heaven.
Right. And we have H205.
What you have?
Tell us it's trouble.
So Avon is trouble. You want to go someplace up in the sky where you think God lives, and yet it's trouble and not peace. You think it's heaven. You've been deceived. What else?
Wickedness.
It's wickedness. So all of a sudden, you think heaven is great and good and peaceful and pleasant and holy, when all of a sudden you see it's wicked. Upside down. The devil deceived you. They gave you lies, and you think it's the truth. Then they gave you the truth, and you think it's lies. You've been deceived. You think heaven is a good place, but yet heaven is a wicked place. Why? Because he is Avon. Men of Avon. I'm telling you the truth, but you don't believe that because you think it's a lie. Anything else?
Sorrow.
So you go into a place where you think you're going to be happy after you die, after you leave the people in sorrow mind. When you die, they become sorrowful because at your funeral, and yet you're going to go up there where you think it's happy, and yet it's a sorrowful place where you think you're going to go. You thought you're leaving sorrow behind. You're going up in the sorrow if you think that's heaven. Anything else?
We'll go right to B, which is idolatry.
Again, idolatry.
Yeah. And finally, under C, trouble of iniquity.
Trouble of iniquity. You think you're going to heaven. The world, the devil deceived the world is all upside down. Going right back to my book. You want to know why this is upside down? Because you think you're going to heaven. It's upside down. It's upside down. The devil held the world upside down, deceived the whole world, and make you think it's heaven, but yet it's hell. And you think hell. That means, and hell is not a name. I mean, hell is not a place. It's a name. That's short for Hallel, who is the devil, Lucifer. That's what Hallel is. Go to that. We're done with that. Go to your address box and type in Lucifer. Because Lucifer wants to take you to heaven. You think it's heaven. It's the devil who's taking you to hell. And that's what hell is, under Avon. Do you want to know why he said he would leave his son in the spirit of truth? To teach you all things and guide you into all truth? If it wasn't for the spirit of truth, all of you'd be going to heaven. Could you imagine how it sounds now? And then those who don't know, they say, that's a good thing. I mean, yeah. Huh? They say, I told y'all leave Mika alone. See, Mika got y'all not wanting to go to heaven. I told you to leave him alone. Mika got y'all mind messed up. You have it?
Yeah, on the H1966.
Lucifer? Click on it and see if it don't take you to Hey, Wab, Lamet, Lamet, or Hey, Lamet, Lamet.
We have it.
What does it say? From right to left.
Hey, Yod, Lamet, Lamet.
Hey, Yod, Lamet, Lamet. H-E-L-L. Hell. They put A was E, and Yod is for E too. Yo, Hallel. That's hell. Lucifer. Hallel. That's his name. That's his spiritual, celestial name. Lucifer. Hell. So hell gonna take you to heaven. To Avon. And yet, that makes sense. Heaven right here on earth with the devil. Hell taking you to hell. You thought it's heaven. He taking you to a softened and a wicked place full of adultery. Now, what was the promise? Now turn as we close of Revelation chapter 21. As I took you now out of heaven. I was told today, and I didn't want to, but my father said, go ahead and take my children out of heaven. That's because they've been deceived. Because I'm going to tell them, and I told them in the recording, I'm not going to heaven, and Galilee is not a physical place. If you want to see me again, you sure got to be an angel. Isn't that what he said? I didn't hear him say he's going to heaven. Go read verse 3. Oh, read verse 1 first, because I gave you a new heaven.
Yeah. Revelation chapter.
I have to fulfill this. I've sealed it. Revelation chapter 21 and verse 1.
Quote, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth.
Now you know what the new heaven is. It's Aven. The first one, because see, the first one is passed away that you thought was in Revelation chapter, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. That's old. It's passed away. There's no more heaven. It's gone. Because it's Aven.
Wow.
And a new earth, because the earth is a man. You're looking at the man. The earth is speaking to you. What else?
For the first heaven and the first
It
earth.
didn't say old earth or old heaven. The first one is passed away. And there's what?
And there was no more sea.
There's no more C. So we don't use the alphabet C anymore. We use either K or S. There's no more C. How are you going to call catch? C-A-T-C-H, catch. And yet you're saying K.
Right.
It's K-A-T-C-H, catch. There's no more C. How are you going to say celestial? It begins with C. And you pronounce it S. It's S-E-L-E-S-T-I-A-L, celestial. There is no more C. I just destroyed C. There's no more C. Read on.
Verse 2.
Verse 2.
And I, John, saw the holy city.
The holy city, heaven.
New Jerusalem.
Not heaven. The new what?
New Jerusalem.
Now I got to give you the New Jerusalem, because the old Jerusalem you thought was a place in the Middle East. That's the old Jerusalem. The New Jerusalem is a city that's going to come down out of heaven. So you got to come down out of heaven in order to get the new city. So get the heaven out of your mind, because my Abba is bringing, read it.
Coming down from God out of heaven.
See, coming down from God out of heaven. That means you got to come out of heaven to come to new city, New Jerusalem. Is that what it says? New Jerusalem.
New Jerusalem.
So in order to get to New Jerusalem, you got to come out of heaven. Come out of that mind. And come out of that evilness and adultery. Right? And idolatry. And you got to come to New Jerusalem, where our Abba is going to be. He's bringing it down. It's a city. He coming up. You ain't going up. He coming down. He bringing it down, the city. Right? What else?
Prepared as a bride adorned for her husband.
Exactly. And what?
Verse 3.
Verse 3.
And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying,
Right.
Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men.
Yes.
And he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God.
And that's exactly what happened. And that's what he's doing right now. He's with them. Right now.
Right.
And I didn't realize that this was going to take the time that it did. But if I have to take 5 days straight without sleep, if I could, or water or eat, to save one sheep in a ditch, I would do that. Remember yesterday when I revealed this to those, that were here with me in Miami. And I said after I did that, could you imagine if I went on live stream and did this? People will leave and say, I bet they family members that you thought was your family come and try and talk you out of leaving here and say, that man got y'all. I told y'all not to go to hell. And you went to Miami anyway. Now that man don't want you to go to heaven. See, I told you you're going to die in hell.
Dang.
And then my father came along this morning and said, no, son. You have other sheep that are not of this fold. Them too I must bring. So I got there. All you have to do is believe, but you don't. Why? Because you've been deceived. With those that believe on my name, then I will give them the strength and power to become the sons of God. Praise Yahweh.
Praise Job.
So learn my name. And I'm not convincing anyone. This is not meant to convince anyone. I don't have a convincing testimony. Those who are awake and those who are awakening will know who I am. I don't have to say, I'm not conceited. They said who I am. I asked them, who you say I am? They said it. All I said was, my father could only have put that in your mind so you can see. With that said, I pray you stay safe. This pandemic is not gone. It's going to get worse. And if I say snow is coming, you haven't seen the snow yet. They thought November, 8 feet of snow was snow. You haven't seen snow yet. You don't have any machines that can take it away fast enough. I want you to keep one thing in mind. You don't keep nothing else. That snow is going to melt.
Wow.
That's nature. And I also look for snow in Florida. With that said, stay safe. Stock up on your food. Terrible times are coming. Hadn't gotten here yet. And that takes care of testimony for today. Praise y'all. So we're going to sign off now on YouTube. We sign off. You just took care of let's see, you got YouTube still live on YouTube and Facebook. Am I still on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see, Facebook. I don't see the feed, but you see I'm still there, so look for the feed. So we can let them go and do what they want to do on a Tuesday. Still on. Okay. It looks like what about YouTube? Still on YouTube? Still show live on Facebook. Okay. Still showing live on Facebook.